This man is back in custody less than 30 minutes after being released. Antonio Allen was arrested in a string of shootings in Tunica County, then released on bond, then rearrested in DeSoto County for allegedly transporting evidence related to the shootings. This is a sprawling case, and Action News 5's Imani Williams walks us through all of it.
Across 3 days here in Tunica County, Mississippi, 6 shootings, 6 victims, and now multiple people are charged, including some of the victims. Let's break all of this down. Shots rang out late Saturday night. That's where it all started in Tunica County.
Seems like it's the new usual now.
Just after midnight, police found 18-year-old Jalen Liddell shot near Fitzgerald Boulevard. He also faces charges in a previous shooting. The next day, the shootings continued with 4 shootings in one day. Tunica County Sheriff's Office says the shootings are connected to gang violence. Residents say these shootings are becoming too common and something needs to change.
It's not enough stuff to do down here in this small county. So, and you know what happens. People look for other routes, avenues.
Let's continue with the timeline. Sunday, police found a man shot in Tunica River Park. 30 minutes later, more shots rang out at this Waffle House, but no victims found until 20-year-old Deontay Taylor showed up at the hospital. He is also charged in this incident. About an hour later, the 4th shooting of the day took deputies on a high-speed chase into DeSoto County. 3 people were arrested and charged after the chase, including a Memphis man and 23-year-old Antonio Allen. Now, Allen was released on an $81,000 bond Tuesday, but less than 30 minutes after his release, he was arrested again, but in DeSoto County. Police say he allegedly hid and transported evidence from this weekend's shooting spree. Back to the timeline, shooting number 5 happened, injuring 21-year-old Cedric Wheeler, who is also facing charges connected to the string of shootings. Later Sunday, another man shows up to the hospital with a gunshot wound. Then on Monday, the last shooting, injuring 18-year-old Mario Lester, who is also facing a previous murder charge. Right now, there are 9 total people facing charges after the 3-day shooting spree. Tunica County Sheriff's Office says the investigation is ongoing. Reporting in Tunica County, Imani Williams, Action News 5.